Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host, and in studio with me, Q Money Magic Man. What up, Q?
Another beautiful day in Lafayette.
It is such a great day, man. It is such a wonderful day. I have my dear friend Justin Centani here. He is the Lafayette tax assessor. He's going to lower all your taxes. I had to.
I'll just go ahead and say I will. Yeah, absolutely.
Just with a little bit of help from my friends. The Beatles had a song like that, a little help from my friends. Man, I'm so happy to have Justin in. Look, I served with him when he was on the school board. A lot of fun times together. I saw his heart. Saw him out on the campaign trail. And his opponent, I know him too. Very, very good folks. Man, Justin, let me tell you, he went in there with a vision. I know you're right there. Now you didn't think I was, but it needs to be said. He had a vision, especially modernizing the tax assessor's office, especially bringing services that are more efficient. Man, some of that stuff's convoluted. And when you have somebody that wants to just get the information out, like being on this show about to explain some of these amendments, that's public service. So I appreciate you, Justin, for coming out, and thank you for your service, my man.
Well, thank you for the kind words. It's so nice to be here with you, Josh. It's been too long.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's go into the amendments. All right, amendment. I'm gonna read through a
first
few.
off, let's say early voting starts tomorrow. Right?
Yes,
and goes through next Saturday on 5 constitutional amendments plus the U.S. Senate primary and a local property tax millage renewal for the Lafayette Parish Library System.
Well, yeah, that's right. So most of the elections are going forward.
Most of it. I didn't say the congressional election, did I?
We'll talk about that.
Admittedly, I haven't read the news today, so I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts right now.
Stick around. There's a lot of moving parts. We'll cover it. And you're right. The day is still young. It could change.
It could.
It could change.
We're still in business hours.
You can still file something. All right, so I'm going to rattle through the amendments. Yeah, like Mr. Centani said, early voting tomorrow. If you're in Lafayette, you got 3 locations. You got one in MLK, you got one Southside Library, and then one in downtown, the government building, the 1010 building, or the Lafayette building. Right by the courthouse, okay, and the sheriff's administrative offices. So no excuse not to go vote. Go vote out there. So 5 amendments. Let me rattle them through. We've talked about this before. Amendment 1 allows the legislature to add or remove positions from the unclassified civil service instead of leaving that power only with the Civil Service Commission. I love it. I think that's going to increase accountability. I think that's going to give elected officials that are elected by the folks some more flexibility to manage government. You know, if you see an issue, you don't need to be handcuffed so much on that classified civil service route. This is unclassified employees, but still, that gives a lot more flexibility to the executive, to the leader that's charged with actually implementing the policies of the legislative body. All right, Amendment 2. I get so mad when I think about these. Let people rule themselves. If St. George wants to have a doggone St. George whatever, I don't care. They want to have a St. George Pickleball Association. The state of Louisiana shouldn't tell them they can't or can't. This is a city. So as a true fundamental conservative standpoint, I love this amendment in the sense that it gives St. George, a city, a local government, some more control, but I don't like the fact that we have to go to the state constitution to amend it to be able to do that. That bothers me. Now, these next 2, 3, and 4, Mr. Centeni, Justin's going to go over that, our tax assessor. Let me skip to 5 real quick. So 5 is raising the mandatory retirement age for judges from 70 to 75. So thank you. I'm always looking at Q was hot and heavy on that one when we were doing it, Justin. You weren't prepared to come into this one. This one doesn't really affect your office that much, but, judges right now have to retire at the age of 70. If they're in the middle of their term, they can serve it out. All this would do is add 5 years to that. Supporters say it could let voters keep experienced judges longer. Other folks say they prefer regular turnover on the bench, and I could see both sides. You keep it early than younger at 70, then you usually get a lawyer on their tail end to be a judge. Usually. We're seeing more young judges, but usually that's the case. So I could see that. All right. Let's go to 3 and 4. That's where Justin's here to talk about Amendment 3. It dissolves certain dedicated education funds and uses the money to pay down debt in the teacher's retirement system. Now, there was some talks, though. The way that it was presented is the way that I took it, and I'm so glad Justin and I got to talking. I'm going to be quiet so he can tell you all about it. But it's not to include pay raises in the Constitution.
Correct.
It's a vehicle. So I'm going to be quiet because that's the narrative out that I believe that this was going to put mandated with the dollar amount teacher pay raises in, and it's different. Go ahead.
Well, let's start with the big issue here, because I share everyone's concern about putting what should be local decisions or legislative decisions in the Constitution, because then later on you're going to be handcuffed, and if you want to change it, I mean, it's like the St. George argument, right? You know, St. George should be able to have their own school system, and that's fine. We shouldn't have to modify the Constitution to do it. But the thing about this is the Constitution we have right now. And so in order to liquidate the trust funds to pay off the teacher retirement system debt, we do have to modify the Constitution. And it's the same with St. George. I wouldn't vote against the St. George Amendment because I don't think it should be in the Constitution. Now, when we eventually have a constitutional convention, count me as part of the bandwagon that says get it all out of the Constitution, right?
Yes.
But I don't want to postpone good decisions that will benefit the whole state of Louisiana just because I haven't gotten a new Constitution yet, you know?
That's fair. Now, but I'm telling you, out on the street.
I know. Look, it's a valid point of view, without a doubt. I mean, I agree with them.
But it's not to include teacher pay raises.
No.
It's with this reduction, what this will allow you to do is save in the retirement system, and with that reduction, the schools are mandated to use that to pay teachers more.
That's correct. So the way I explained it to you before the show was currently, and we'll use Lafayette Parish as an example, the Lafayette Parish school system, somewhere around 24% of the total payroll costs go straight to the teacher retirement system to help pay off this legacy debt. I know it's a big number. It really is.
That's crazy.
It's a big number. I mean, look, this $2 billion that they're talking about isn't even going to retire all of it, right? I'm telling you. So I mean, like, it's a real serious problem.
Oh yeah.
And so, but 24% of the total payroll costs go to retire this legacy debt from the teacher retirement system. If they're able to liquidate these trust funds and pay off this debt, that 24% will go down, and the actuaries will come up with the actual number. But the actuaries will say, okay, now it's going to be 16%. Okay, and when you're talking about a payroll as large as a school system, that's a real number right there. And so that 24% goes down to 16%. Say that 8% savings of total payroll costs is mandated to go to fund permanent teacher salary increases.
I'm switching my position.
Look at that.
I went on air and said, heck no. I went on a rant. I was so heck bent on proving my point. Well, but my understanding was not correct.
Well, okay. Well, good. And I appreciate the fact that you're willing to change your mind.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, it's important. These amendments. I'm with you. It's the Constitution we have right now. It is a glorified book of statutes. It is nothing. We call it a constitution. It's a signo. It's a constitution in name only. It's a constitution in name only. I mean, I say it all the time, man. The federal constitution has been amended 27 times.
That's right.
27. The first 10 came all at once. So really 18.
Right.
And that's almost 250 years. You see?
Yeah.
Since 1789. That's crazy. 1787.
In fairness, they did a really good job at the beginning.
Yes, and we say that all the time too. But for the last 100 years of our existence, really 90 years, the last 90 years since the 30s, up until the 30s, the federal government acted as a limited government. We didn't get to become the world's superpower by accident. We were building things. We were manufacturing things. The Industrial Revolution was great for us. And it still can be, and that's why I support these tariffs and this initiative. We don't know if that's the answer. In 5 years, we may say that was a horrible move. But one thing we do know is we couldn't continue to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. So I applaud people for being bold. And look, you might, on this amendment, hey, you might have been just like me and had the understanding. Because if you read the description, it says teacher pay raises. And I know why they put that to get the votes. But that's confusing because when you got principled folks that say, hey, you should not put that in the Constitution, you should put that in a statute if you got to do it at the state level, or an ordinance, or a school board making a decision.
And look, I was wondering, and I guess we'll see after the show how well this would go on, talking about percentages of payroll going to teacher retirement system debt, and it's a very technical thing that they're trying to do, and I don't know how you possibly condense that down to the 200 words that you have on a ballot to help make sure that the voters are informed and they can make an informed decision. So I hope everybody reads up on it and sees the wisdom in it that I see.
Do you think they have ChatGPT?
Maybe.
Because maybe they could say, hey, these are the 10,000 words we're using. Can you make it in 20?
Yeah. And look, I think I told you this.
No. Can you make it 20 words and talk in English?
That's it. And make it so they don't use double negatives.
Yeah,
and I mean,
right.
when you go into the booth and you have to read it 4 times
This
just
is algebra again.
Just to make sure you know.
Two positive is a negative.
That's right.
Am I right?
That's right.
You're the former school board member. When I went to law school, they said I'd never had to do math again.
I was so happy to graduate high school because I never had to take an English again.
You see? I love it. Hey, anything else on Amendment 3, Mr. Tax Assessor?
Well, so this was one of the big pieces of Amendment number 2 that failed last spring. And so I recall specifically the feedback from a lot of people that I heard was Amendment 2. They voted no because it was too much. And it was a lot. It was a wholesale rewrite of Article 7, which is the financial section of the state constitution. And so this, I think, was one of the big pieces. I remember telling people several times, I'm like, I would vote yes on 2 just for this, and what turns out to be Amendment 4 this year these were 2 great pieces of policy, and I hope the state sees the wisdom in it.
Hey, look, well, we'll stick around. Can you stick around?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll talk about Amendment 4 when we get back, and that's, that's inventory tax. It's a no-brainer. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, let me tell y'all about my friends over there. Look, Giles Subaru, we talked about it yesterday. So I had lunch with Bob earlier, and great conversation. So, of course, we talk about the dog park a lot. And again, there's great automobiles at the Subaru place, too. But look, I didn't know. So that dog washing station that you brag about all the time,
It's the coolest thing.
it's about to get cooler. The water is warm,
Oh, really?
and there's a little collar with a that you could put on. It's like very user friendly. There's a blow drying, but guess what? So like in the winter, you got warmer water and blow drying. We had a Great Dane, Jamie and I. So those big breeds, we would have appreciated that because I watched this big butt outside, and then when it got cold because they're little babies, well, I wouldn't want to be wet outside either. So we'd have to do it in the shower, and that was 140 pounds of, jeez, man, and did not want to do it. So it's like, gosh. But anyway, look, here's the cool thing about Giles Subaru. If you're a customer, you can go use the washer for free. They give you tokens. Anybody can use the dog park for free. It's open to Lafayette. It's open to the public. Just go in there, check it out. But look, Giles Subaru, what you do get, not only a tight-knit community, not only a great vehicle that's strong, that you can like tow stuff and go off-road with them. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
It's
There's
crazy.
a reason everybody in Vermont drives a Subaru, right?
Thank you. Exactly. So if they and down here, we could definitely use that. So look, man, Giles Subaru, go check them out right off of Johnson Street. You can't go wrong. We have my dear friend Justin Centanian here, Lafayette tax assessor. He's given us the lowdown on Amendments 3 and 4. And Amendments 3, I'm so glad we were able to take the time to learn from it, and I'm going to vote yes on that one because now I understand it more. So
Excellent.
That's fantastic.
All right, let's see if we need to convince you on 4.
Yeah, I'm an easy sell. A lot of people are. Hey, tell us about Amendment 4, and tell us about, you said a couple aspects that I thought was fascinating that might help the folks.
Yeah, so Amendment 4 is going to give each parish the option of fully or partially exempting business inventory from ad valorem taxation. All right. So that I think that's pretty close to the language in the amendment right
We
there.
like it.
So currently, and I'll preface this by saying the business inventory tax that the state of Louisiana, that the Constitution requires us to levy, in my opinion, is probably about the stupidest tax that we have. and I don't want to mince words here.
Just to clarify.
Just to clarify, if anybody was very at all confused about this, and because the products or the property that goes into business inventory, you paid sales taxes on it when you bought it. You're going to pay income taxes on it when you sell it, assuming you sell it for more than you paid for it. The customer is going to pay sales taxes on it. And so in the meantime, we've somehow managed to find a way to tax those same products while they're just sitting on a shelf not doing anything, not being productive at all, right? And so that's the first aspect of it. But then the second aspect of it is it's a really terrible way to actually fund the government services that the voters have decided that they want. And it's really because the fundamental theory behind government revenue is you just want it to be stable. You don't necessarily want it to grow a ton, but you don't want it to go down because the voters and the public still expect us to provide the services that we provide. And if the revenue is going down, then it makes it more difficult to provide it in a timely fashion. Well, business inventory in particular, when the business is incentivized to not have inventory on their shelves, well, then it's necessarily going to fluctuate a lot. The city of Youngsville last year had a 20% decrease in the business inventory within their jurisdiction. And Mayor Ritter asked me, he goes, well, what happened? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, Rouse's didn't have as much on the shelves or whatever the case may be. When a business is incentivized to not have inventory, they're going to do everything they can to not have inventory,
I wasn't going to ask this. It's kind of, we have this resident, Karen, that kind of messages in the show, and is a good friend, really good friends with Jamie Angel. Her name is Martha Jean, okay? And Martha Jean, she's kind of, I wasn't going to do this because he's my friend and tax assessor, real big guy here, She's want to know, she has a homegrown marijuana plant collection. Okay? Is she going to have to pay inventory taxes on that?
Only if she is a business.
Well, she's far from a business.
Go.
Listen to me. There ain't no kind of license anywhere close to that.
And frankly, I would appreciate it if
facility.
she never tells me again that she has that.
Exactly. And I told her that. And I said, Martha Jean, see, in the Ozarks, they don't play. That's where she's from, the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas. She moved down to Livingston Parish, has an issue with keeping teeth. But it's okay. Carry on.
All right, so I've kind of established that this is dumb the way we go about it, right? It's
That's
Friday
the
afternoon.
best-
I might
That's
not
the
say
best
it.
analysis we got on that.
So like I may not say that on a Monday morning, but like on a Friday afternoon, I'm just going to tell you like
yeah.
I would love nothing more than to not levy business inventory tax anymore.
True.
Now, the flip side of that. So in Lafayette Parish, it's about 10% of our tax roll. And so you're talking about the school board would lose 10% of their property tax revenue. The sheriff would lose 10%. The parish council would lose 10%. It varies a little bit amongst the municipalities. Youngsville is only about 2% of their tax roll. Caring Crow is about 12% because of the Amazon warehouses in Caring Crow. And so what that's really going to produce is it's going to produce an impact to this is how the sheriff pays sheriff's deputies, how the school board pays teachers, how the parish council does drainage projects, as you well know, streets and drainage projects. And so while it's an objectively good policy to not tax business inventory, what we really need to focus on is how do we get from year 1 to year 4 when the natural growth, including the economic benefits of not taxing business inventory, the natural growth in the tax roll will backfill that revenue for these taxing bodies. And so that's really the challenge that we have.
That's a really interesting point. So you said 10%.
10%.
All right, Lafayette.
$28 million a year.
That's the school board, or
That's the entire inventory tax collections for the entire parish.
that's it?
$28 million.
Man, I could cut $28 million in Lafayette Consolidated Government on my way to the bathroom. Do y'all hear me? There's $100 million in that budget more than the last guy. I could trip on my shoestrings and find that.
So
Cut them taxes and make us inviting. Lafayette Parish should be the most inviting parish for businesses and small business and small families to come here. And this is an easy way. Man, this is such an easy win.
And I'll tell you this too, and I make this point and say, okay, let's say that the parish council and the sheriff and the school board get together and they decide they don't want to get rid of it, right? Well, guess what? They're going to lose it anyway, because when St. Martin Parish exempts it, and St. Landry Parish exempts it, and Acadia Parish exempts it, then everybody's going to take all their inventory and just put it right across the parish lines.
See, someone called yesterday, and he reminded us of a very, very simple principle. Government does not have a revenue problem. Government has a spending problem. I ain't calling anybody individually out. That's just a culture. But I tell you what, we got some really cool guys and really great just caring people in office. Yeah, you got some bad apples, but there's good ones like my friend Justin. And he wakes up every day and he goes in there with a really proactive attitude.
That's right.
And what you see is what you get. I've seen him in so many different capacities. He's always the same. We got to wear a tux together the other day.
We did.
We didn't scare anybody.
No, and we walked our daughters down the stage. I didn't trip. You didn't trip.
I was so worried about that. I was so worried about that because everybody's watching you walk on that little thing.
That's
I'm like,
right.
come on. And it's more so for my daughter. I'm like, I can trip with anybody else except her.
Oh, because she's going down with you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, you're going down with me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, it was great. What a great evening that was.
It was. Hey, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. I'm going to convince Justin to stick around another segment. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, we are broadcasting live from Lafayette, Louisiana. Go check us out at rumble.com. Shout out to That's Real Sha. That's what I'm talking about. Go to rumble.com, look up the Josh Guillory Show. You can go to my X page, real unique, at Josh Guillory USA. And shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. Also, a shout out to my friend, Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Justin, have you ever heard of Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic?
I can't say that I haven't. I'm sorry to not say that about your advertiser.
Well, he's more than advertised. That's my doctor. So I go to him, and he is wonderful. My wife got me hooked on him. I was so skeptical, so what?
Although I suppose, I'm the exact person he's trying to reach, somebody who's never heard of him, right?
Yes, exactly.
So now I have.
Care.
Now I have.
So look, Justin, when you go to the and we love our MDs. There's a team out there. You know what I'm saying? We learn science and trust the science, all the things. Well, Dr. Kevin at his clinic focuses on functional medicine. So really looking at the 3 pillars of human health to help you get to the root of what is really going on in your body. What I personally love about him is I was kind of feeling like groggy a little bit, and just kind of not my best, my A game, And he goes through there. It's a program that's tailored to you. It's all driven by your blood work and stuff, and it's very organ intense. So, anywho, not to get too gruesome like that, but go visit Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, 983-CARE. You can check him out every Wednesday on Wellness Wednesday. Justin, we have a phone call. Oh, guys, by the way, my favorite part of the doggone show, 232-1542, 844-766-6607, which is the part of the program, Justin, where the audience carries the show. See, I set the bar so low for them that they come in there and carry me every day we're live. So we certainly appreciate that. Caller, you are live on the Josh Guillory Show. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Carry me every. My name's Dwayne Gotro.
What's up, Dwayne? Turn your radio down. There you go.
I
What's
did.
up?
I just turned it down. Yes,
good.
I did.
You good, buddy? What you got?
Yeah, the last couple of weeks, inventory tax that I've been in business 40 years, and y'all were saying that they're deleting it or they're going to get rid of it, and then last week I heard people saying they were going to reduce it. Well, I had my CPA look at it and really dive in to see what it would do to our books. And what he's saying is it gives the power to the parishes. That's all it's doing. They can decide whether they want to delete your inventory tax or keep it the same or reduce it. It's giving them power to do whatever they want. The problem I have with it is, the sheriff or the mayor or the parish president or whoever, they can decide the way I feel is, well, if they donate to my campaign, maybe I'll reduce their inventory tax.
Well, that's possible. Go ahead.
No, well, so let me clarify. He's exactly right. It's a parish option. And the way the constitutional amendment and the accompanying statute reads is that the parish council, the school board, and the sheriff in every parish, they all have to agree. And if one of them disagrees, then we keep the inventory tax locally.
Ooh, it might get hot.
They all have to agree.
Why are we giving? Okay, so why are we voting on it?
Because it's in the Constitution. The Constitution currently mandates that we levy property taxes against business inventory.
Horrible
Okay,
provision.
so why doesn't the amendment read get rid of it or keep it? Why is it that our vote, so my vote doesn't count, because what it's doing is I'm just giving somebody else the decision.
So I think
whether I vote for it or I don't vote for it, they're still going to have the decision if it passes.
That's correct. Well, if you don't vote for it, they won't have the decision for sure. But I think the reason the legislature put it like that is there's about 45 parishes in the state where getting rid of the inventory tax is an absolute no-brainer. And there's about 10 parishes in the state where it's going to be a real challenge for them and mainly it's the river parishes like St. James, St. John, St. Charles, where they have a lot of plants, and it makes up a really significant percentage of their tax roll. And so I think the legislature, if they had tried to say we're going to all get rid of it, it never would have passed the legislature. And if they had said we're just going to keep it, that would have been an uprising too. So I think they said we're going to let each parish decide what's best for them. I think is why it's like that.
Yeah, I agree. Put in local, and thank you to the caller. I thought he was still on. Thank you for the caller.
Those are really great points.
Yeah, and that's raw from a business owner too. That's real. I get the frustration. I think I don't even know. I don't even think it should be a thing. Okay, but if I had to choose, I'd want my local government to be able to do that because you can get in touch with that mayor, you can get in touch with that sheriff, you can get in touch with the school board.
Well, and let's make a point that it's going to be for everybody. It's not going to be on a case-by-case basis. So if we exempt business inventory from taxation, that's for everybody. It doesn't
Right.
matter who donates to who.
That's
It's
right.
just it is just gone.
It's just a good policy, in my opinion, and but that would force local leaders to work together too, and you would think that would happen often, and most of the time it does. Most of the time it does. But I can think of some examples. There might be some difficulties, but no brainer, man. You want to make this place inviting, clean it up, lower the taxes, and
We're one of 9.
do the things government's supposed to do.
We're
Pave the
one of
roads, do
9
the drainage.
states. One of 9 states that taxes business inventory. So
You see that? And we're conservative. Come on now. That's depressing. Did you just tell?
I
One
did.
of 9.
I did. One of 9.
Oh my
Which
God.
ought to tell you. I mean, look, we can always look at Texas and Florida, and they do not.
And Tennessee.
I mean, so we're the only one in the South doing it. Then
Oh, that's
we
what I was
should
going to
we
ask.
should really
So
consider.
Mississippi ain't doing this?
I can't say whether Mississippi
okay,
is.
all
Or
right,
not.
Because that's our battle buddy.
Yeah.
Like we battle for 49 and 50.
I know we want to be
guys.
Texas, but really, like we're not in their league yet. I
They're
get
in
it.
the 20s and 30s in educate. We want it in like the
Yeah.
40s,
Yeah.
30s.
No, it's a look. If we were setting up our tax system today, we would not do this.
Oh, we got a hard break. All right,
Absolutely.
guys, stick around. We'll be right back to have some more fun. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, let me tell you something, man. Give me a shout out, give you a shout out, give all these folks a shout out. Stan's Auto, man. I love these guys.
I've heard of Stan's Auto.
Dude, you got to go by Stan's. Oh, by the way,
I've brought my cars to Stan's Auto.
And you always nice. Like the friendly. And I sit there sometimes, especially visit with Sterling or whatnot, because you know he's in the front.
Always.
Always. With a smile. With a smile. And knows pretty much everybody that walks through, okay? I'm always amazed how much traffic in that one location. It's like they would give Chick-fil-A a run for their money, you know, on the efficiency. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me, Chick-fil-A. I know you. I know. All right, but go check out Stan's, man. I love them. 2 locations, Iberia and Lafayette. All right, so we got Tax Assessor Justin Centeni, my dear friend over here in studio. We certainly appreciate your time. So we're talking a lot about Amendments 3 and Amendments 4. Justin, you know, as we're wrapping up hour number 1, talk to the folks. Anything else on these amendments that we need to kind of focus on?
No, Amendment 4, I think, is just the bottom line is $28 million a year. We can put that back into the pockets of our business owners, both big and small. This is $28 million annually that they could use to expand, to hire more people, to just make Acadiana a better economic environment, right? And so I think if we don't take advantage of this opportunity, I don't know when the next time we're going to get one. And so I hope everybody will consider voting yes on both 3 and 4.
So we got 2 steps on that. We got to vote yes, okay? And then we have to work with our local officials to work together and agree.
And Mandy Mitchell and I at LEDA have already been meeting with the mayor president, the parish, the sheriff, and the school board to give them the information so they make a quality decision.
There's an easy one. Do it.
I agree.
Do it. Give the money to the people creating the tax base that pays your salary and pays all the good things and good ideas you want to do. Want to make people feel good. Well, you can if you if you do measures like this.
That's right.
So, I mean, think about it. If you're a business and you have this money, this pot of money, and you have a choice of giving it to the government or spending it in the economy, chances are you're going to spend it in the economy. Yeah, you may save some, but it saves something for what? Either a rainy day to spend in the economy or the next month to spend in the economy, but you're spending it in the economy.
And when you spend it in the economy, then the tax base grows.
Thank you.
Right? And so, it'll be a no-brainer in 5 years. We look back and say, I can't even really believe we had to, discuss this and talk about it. But we got to get to that 5 years first.
Well, I think it's
Step
a no-brainer.
1 is voting yes.
I think it's a no-brainer. If it hits roughly 10% of, where at Lafayette, you said it'd be $28 million.
$28 million.
Okay, guys, LCG can figure that out. I'm just being honest with you. LCG can figure it out.
And the $28 million is every taxing body, all the municipalities,
That's what I'm saying.
the
So
library, the sheriff, everybody.
But if parish government, if LCG works with the sheriff, for example, and the sheriff has some legitimate concerns budgetarily, okay?
And
the
look,
parish could maybe work with the sheriff on that.
And let's acknowledge, there are different funding mechanisms for a lot of these governments, right? So the sheriff, as you well know, does not have any sales tax revenue to speak of. He has a little bit in the unincorporated part of the parish, but that's not really, it's tiny, and it doesn't grow much, right? The school board has a lot of sales tax revenue, and so as a result, I think when you're talking about a 10% reduction in property taxes, that ends up being about a 2% overall cut to their budget. So they're in better shape to weather this than most people.
Yeah.
The sheriff, however, it's pretty close to a 10% reduction in his budget. And so, you're talking about actual deputies and courthouse security and 911.
But don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Cut this dang spending, and parish government can do that. Now, I'm with you, Justin. I'm just saying from a policy standpoint, guys, we are fortunate. We have $100 million in this parish budget, more than the last administration. Use it. Invite people to the community. Clean it up. Cut the grass. Pick up the trash. Get rid of this panhandling. Get back to focusing on roads and drainage, and cut taxes, and don't stop at inventory. There's other rededication measures that Justin's going to announce next week. So
well, look, and I'll just point out that I neither decide the tax rate nor collect the taxes, right?
Every tax assessor I've met makes sure to give that disclaimer. I just collect them.
I'm just the bearer of bad news is all I am.
That's it. Or I'm just assessor. And, I think tell folks, we got about 45 seconds. Tax assessor, is there a way to maybe appeal the value of the house?
Absolutely, and I'll probably come back on in August.
Yes,
So every
good.
year when we're currently making our assessments right now, and every year in August we have a 2-week period where what we call the open book period, where everybody in the parish can come in and they can appeal their assessment. And look, we're not always going to agree that we're wrong. That's right. But then if we think if the evidence that the taxpayer presents is compelling, we'll change the assessment. I mean,
Look, and I believe that too. And there's a process. So yeah, maybe we'll have Justin back on in August. You can come explain that. And hey, you really helped me out on Amendment 3. So guys, I totally changed my mind on that now, knowing more facts about it. I'm hoping Justin at least put you in a good position to make a decision here. But that amendment is not it's not mandating constitutionally teacher pay raises. It's telling the school boards, with all this money you're going to cut,
that's right.
you got to use it on paying our folks. All right, guys, man, stick around. Hour number 2 right around the corner. I can't wait. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our number 2 of the Josh Guillory Show. We are introducing with one of my favorite segments of the whole show. It is Friday. It's a fun day. You know what it is. It's Just Joking with Janet. JJWJ in the hizzy. What's up, Janet?
I can never quite. I like the introduction,
well, of
though.
course,
I really do.
It was springboarding into the weekend. You and I match with our pink shirts on.
I'm telling you.
Doggone it, you have great taste.
I do.
Jan and I also share gardening tips. Y'all might not know that.
We do. We do.
Tell us a joke, Janet. Put a smile on our face.
I just realized my emergency contact is my husband. The same man who can't find his wallet, doesn't know his doctor's name, and ignores unknown calls. Yeah, call him.
You see, Jamie? It's not just me. I keep saying y'all are the special creatures. We're the limited creatures, okay? I'm convinced y'all can do what we can do. We just, here we are.
We can do it better.
Thank you, Janet, putting a smile on our face every single week. Kill switch, that was for you. All right, guys, we're going to open up those phone lines earlier in the show or later in the show, segment 3, maybe segment 2 if we feel a little froggy and want to jump. But I want to hear from some of our regulars. I know we hadn't been, we hadn't had the phone lines open for the first half of the week, but let me hear you guys. Let's go straight into, you want to go to crazy?
Always.
Well, I think we should take the expressway there. So you've been hearing this honestly across the country, okay? High earners and businesses. We were talking about the economy and the tax base and tax rates with Justin Centeni, our tax assessor. But look, high earners, high businesses leaving high tax states. We're seeing that all over the place. New York, especially New York City. He's like, whoa, we just want to match it what New Jersey's doing. Well, y'all are both losing them. Silly. You're both losing them. But money, when that happens, moves away. All the jobs, all the little guy that you care about, you say you care about, you screw the little guys, what you do. But the little guy that you're worried about, well, the people that are taking care of him, because it ain't government, they're leaving. Money moving out like a hot potato, just throw it away. Money moving out of places like Washington, we're about to talk about, into places like Texas, Florida, Tennessee, as you can imagine. So that's the backdrop. That's what we're looking at. So Seattle. Let's go to Seattle, home of Starbucks. Well, Seattle's new socialist mayor, Katie Wilson, and she looks like she's 12. I don't know how old she is. But and it kind of, her policies kind of, have you ever watched Happy Gilmore?
I have.
The kindergarten teacher that eats the glue when no one's looking? I'm not saying that Mayor Wilson would be that person, okay? But if you told me that Mayor Wilson was secretly like in the kindergarten class in the back just eating glue, it wouldn't shock me. So here we go. So socialist new mayor of Seattle, well, she is being asked about all that. She's being asked about why are so many millionaires leaving Seattle? Mayor, why is your tax base shrinking? I thought you had high taxes. What the heck? Well, that's why. Millionaires leaving. And when she was asked about it, she was very efficient in her words, very arrogantly. Bye. That's what she said. Bye, Felicia. Just straight up, bye. Like a little, bye. Bye. We don't need you anyway. Until we need you. All those little socialist programs ain't going to pay for themselves. But she said bye. She laughs. She waves it off. Crowd claps, as you can imagine. But that is the mindset. That is the mindset. And it's becoming a plague across cities in our country. And it's all left-leaning cities. I don't know, you got some interesting policies somewhere, but this is This is ridiculous. Laughing it off like it's no big deal until you need me. Just like those folks saying defund the police. Yeah, defund the police until you need the police. This is the same thing. But that's a mindset. That is a culture. And I believe Miss Mayor Wilson believes everything she's saying. I'll give her credit for that. I do believe she has conviction on this. She's just coming from a land of fairy tale, I guess. I don't know. So, well, we should have had Justin on for this one. Mayor, I know this is crazy, but cities run on revenue, okay? This is the facts, whether you like it or not. A small group of high earners usually pay a huge share of the bills. And we're talking the things that folks need. Police, fire, roads, schools, everything. You need money to do it. That's the structure. Now, you don't need to raise taxes. You need to raise your tax base. And you, my friend, did the opposite. Y'all are too busy raising taxes, raising regulation, and you're not even caring about your tax base. It's proven time after time after time when local governments focus on elevating their tax base and not their tax rate, things grow in a good way. Look at Texas, look at Florida, look at Tennessee. Three good examples, okay? But here's the deal. You push that group out, these millionaires that you say, bye, laugh it off. That is either that laugh and shrug and bye is either coming from a significant place of extreme ignorance, of lack of life training, never running a business, never having to pay people. Maybe you have, and maybe that was your thing and good for you, okay? But I'm just saying, you can't get, you can be all cocky and arrogant, or it's either just ego. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's ego over there, but it's definitely, at minimum, ignorance. And I say that with love and kindness. But there's a mindset. But, Mayor, when you push that group out, the people actually paying for your stuff, revenue drops. Whew. When revenue drops, guess what? The bill moves. Taxes go up on everyone else, or services go down. That's it. That's your only two options when you start losing your tax base, Mayor. When you start kicking them out because of high taxes and undue regulations that burden businesses. Like in local governments, development codes, for example. Why do certain mayors, certain municipalities just want to control everything to a degree where they create such a little vacuum that only a few people in cubicles run the show and they have no clue what's going on in the real world? If you stop developing as a city or as a parish or a county, you're done. You stop. You have to continue to live or you die. There's a season for everything. Well, there's a season for everything in a municipality too, and you got to keep up with the times. And you're not going to keep up with the times if you're going to do initiatives like Seattle, where you treat these people that have busted their rear end and have taken risk, and who cares if they got it handed to them? That's so small. That's such a small percentage. It's probably less than the people that think they're transgender, which is also small. Just throwing out, I got to make it comparisons. You see what I'm saying? Don't want to hurt anybody's ears. Where was I going with that? I forgot my thought. Probably thought of, hey, go back to the topic. But yeah, so look, the mayor, and it's just a mentality, man. It's a mentality. These big cities, or I didn't have to be big cities. There's small cities. There's probably towns and cities in Louisiana. Folks are listening that are like, hey, man, no brainer. Like this inventory tax, if it passes on the, if the amendment on the inventory tax, which would put the power at the local level, if that passes, this should be a no-brainer in this area where we're broadcasting from. Like Lafayette should absolutely eliminate the inventory tax. It's only going to happen if our folks can work together, because it will impact, like Mr. Centani said, it would impact the sheriff probably more than the school board, probably more than Lafayette Consolidated Government. Well, you have partners, and you should work together to offset some of those costs, because the sheriff probably has legitimate concerns. That's a big hit, and we want to be safe. And the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer of every parish. So we want the sheriff to be supported. We want our law enforcement to be supported. And parish government has a duty. Every elected official has a duty. Every respective city council member and city mayor has a duty. But where's your duty at? Where's your duty at? Is it with the people? Or is it with the system? Is it with politics? But everybody's loyal to somebody, to something, to some concept, to some philosophy. But who is your duty to internally? And when our local leaders across the state, across the country, okay, but I'm saying the state in this one, all 64 parishes, it's going to require our local folks to work well together. And maybe, like Justin said, maybe like in the river parishes, maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense to do that. But it sure as heck makes sense in places like Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm saying Lafayette because it's the hub, but all of Acadiana, every parish should consider this. You got so many opportunities in St. Martin. You got so many opportunities in Iberia, in St. Mary, all along Highway 90. You know, I'm tired of looking at Berwick and seeing like just, you know, what is it, bales of hay almost fly. You know what I'm saying? Like we've shot our oil and gas out of the state, which impacts our service related jobs. Look at Berwick, look at Franklin, look at all those areas on Highway 90. But you see a lot of billboards, and I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Let's do things to bring in the tax base and raise it, not raise tax rates. Doggone it. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, we're broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. And check us out on X at Josh Guillory USA. And, of course, we're on Rumble. Let me see you on that chat. All right, guys, man, I'm going down to Primaries because y'all know what it is. Y'all already know.
Gumbo weather.
It's always gumbo weather at Primaries. So you got two locations, man, right off of Morgan and Broussard, right off the highway. Can't miss it, man. It's wonderful. Right by the train tracks. Pretty big dip after the train tracks. Sit you right in, shoot you right into Primaries, right there. And then, of course, the classic location between Karen Crow and Lafayette off of I-49. Go check them out at Primaries. Tell Ken and Tim and all the folks we said hello. Ask them if we landed on the moon. It'll be wonderful. It'll be great. So we're talking about Seattle mayor. Man, it's like knee-jerk reaction. Let's just flip the bird to all the people that are funding my pie-in-the-sky ideas. Bye. Bye, Felicia. So anyway, the mayor's not getting it, okay? They're just not getting it. They don't understand the chain. They don't understand that when you put so much burden on the people that are employing your folks, they're going to leave. We have this wonderful clause in the Constitution, the 14th Amendment Clause, Privileges and Immunities Clause, and it allows you to kind of skirt around the country and do what you want to do, basically, in part. There's all the legal scholars, I get it. That was like a fraction of what it does. I get it. But in this regard, it reminds these big government liberal, you give liberals a bad name, socialists. Socialist mayors like Mamdani and Miss Wilson over here in Seattle. There's other examples. Like total disregard to the taxpayer. I mean, look, whether you like it or not, there's a small percentage of people in your community funding most of the taxes. There's a few people in the state that fund most of the taxes. There's a few people in the country that fund most of the taxes. You don't want to, if taxes is what you live off of, government, you don't want to get rid of them. You don't want to say, just to dismiss them. Bye. Get your little claps. Get your little Seattle claps. Don't get, can you say the clap on radio?
I'm not sure. I think it would depend on context.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just say I'm clapping in Seattle. All right. Taxes. Yeah. So taxes go up, by the way. It's a chain reaction, and these mayors don't understand it, I guess. Taxes go up on everyone else. Their services go down. When these guys leave, when you kick out the businesses, when you kick out the millionaires, pesky millionaires. Yeah, pesky millionaires paving your roads. Okay? But if you want to continue those services, you have to raise taxes on everybody else. How is that looking out for the little guy? It's not. And usually what happens is both. Services go down and taxes go up. When you kick out the big guys and you literally kick them out and tell them bye. Okay, got it. But that is the chain. That is the domino effect. And Seattle is already dealing with it. Look at what's going on over there. Open drug use in public, homelessness spreading, businesses struggling, public spaces getting run down, public spaces being taken over. The tail wagging the dog, basically. And it's a dog with fleas. I mean, this is absolutely a culture in government. Not everybody, most Democrats don't even act like this when they're in office. I mean, they understand that people pay taxes, and you don't want to get rid of your biggest revenue providers. You want to do all these great things while you're in office. You want to help people, I would imagine. Well, you need the revenue to do that, and you can't kick out all your revenue folks. Just like these inventory taxes, we got to pass that amendment to allow the local governments across our state to decide whether or not we want these inventory taxes. And when you're in a parish like Lafayette and you're in parishes across Acadiana, it's a no-brainer. You have I-10, you have I-49, you have Highway 90. You got an adequate rail system. You got a regional airport. You got one down in Iberia too, but you got a regional airport here in Lafayette renovated. Our policies need to start replicating our expectations as a society, as a community. Otherwise, our community is going to lower our expectations. And does anybody in this parish want that? No, not at all. So it's a big running a city's not hard, guys. Running a parish or county is not hard. It's very easy. Any of us could do it. Okay, it's not. You just got to be disciplined, and you just got to be able to do what you said you're going to do. But it starts off with cleaning the place up and then cleaning your budget up. So if you can do the little things, you can do the big things. Don't downplay cleaning up panhandling. Don't downplay cutting the grass and picking up trash. It makes a difference. All these big tax-paying, providing small business employers and millionaires and at least one billionaire, maybe two, okay? You don't want them leaving. Well, guess what they do? They invite people that can dump revenue into our economy, whether through conferences. That's why we need to get a full-service hotel in Lafayette. There's no reason why there's not one. But regardless, you get all that, you want it to be inviting. If these businesses that are employing your residents, if they're inviting other folks to do business with and they come into a city that looks like it's not going in the right direction, that impacts their bottom line. And them impacting their bottom line impacts their workers. Because they're going to make the profit. Government, you're going to push them so much, but they're going to make the profit. You'll push them until they leave, like in Seattle and New York City. But we're not immune in other areas from not doing the little things right. If you can't do the little things, how can you do the big things? I think that's written somewhere. But yeah, so this right here in Seattle is not the what do they call it? White paper? Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
I don't know. All the people smarter than me say that. So you don't need a white paper on this. I'm telling you, anybody listening, if you have an ounce of organization and can lead a little bit, any one of us can go be a mayor. Empower your people around you, set clear expectations, hold people accountable, and get the job done. Don't make too many promises. If you do that, and you make promises on the things that matter, and you just like a rat on a Cheeto, don't stop on those things, everything else will fall into place. I'm telling you, it ain't hard. And when you get easy wins, like eliminating the inventory tax, man, don't let anybody tell you the government can't survive. But I was in. I'm telling you, I can tell you that budget like the back of my hand. And when budget comes out, maybe we'll do that. Because we can illustrate how easy it is, not only to get rid of inventory tax, but also to do easy tax reform. I'm using Lafayette because I'm familiar with that. Lafayette should be putting that on the ballot. We shouldn't be focusing on all this renewal stuff. We should be rededicating, almost starting over. And it's an easy tweak, but you can lower the taxes on the folks. We asked them to cut. Why can't government cut? It can. Trust me, it can. Locally, I'll give you a few budgets to look at and you can see for yourself. A few years ago, but it's all good. All right, so Q, we're going to take a tiny little break, man. Maybe we talk about the mayor over there in Seattle. Maybe we talk about May Day. We're talking about May Day. And these folks in Europe, man, I can't wait. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, we are broadcasting live from Callais here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Let me tell you about my friends over there at Giles Subaru. Man, you're looking for a dealership that really puts people first. Man, make Giles Subaru in Lafayette your next stop. At Giles Subaru, customer service, it's not just a promise. It's how they do business every single day. From the moment you walk in, their team is focused on making your experience easy, comfortable, and completely stress-free. And look, that I keep saying all the time, the dog park is just a bonus, but it's open to the public. You don't have to buy a Subaru to go use it, okay? Dog washing center and everything, you use coins just like an old car wash. But if you're a customer of Giles Subaru, whether you have a Subaru or not, you go into the maintenance department, you drop it off for whatever, they give you a few tokens, bring your pup. Go give him a wash. Heated water. That's pretty impressive right there. But look, man, speaking of service, though, like service, shoot. Their service department at Giles Subaru is top-notch. Factory-trained technicians, okay, very qualified, quick turnaround times, and a team you can trust to keep your Subaru running like new. So look, man, whether you're buying your next vehicle, maybe you're taking care of the one you have, Giles Subaru delivers a better experience from start to finish. Go visit Giles Subaru on Johnston Street in Lafayette or go online, gilessubaru.com, where customer care comes standard. All righty. Let's go to May Day. May Day. Happy May Day. Happy May Day.
Happy May Day.
Did anybody, there used to be like parades and stuff, you know? And now it's protest.
Well, I think the countries that could host the parades, they got rid of their communist overlords.
Oh, gosh. Let's say what's going on, all right? So, you ain't kidding, brother. Here's what's happening today, by the way, today. So May Day protests across Europe and Asia. You know, May Day, the protests and the marches and all that stuff used to be about workers and wages and labor rights. Well, that has turned into full-blown anti-America, anti-Israel political rallies. Paris, Madrid, Germany, Istanbul, Manila. How do you say that one? Manila. I know what you're talking about. A whole bunch of other places, even South Korea, I believe. Same pattern. Crowds chanting about inflation, housing, wages. Okay, that's typical May Day stuff. But then pivoting straight up blaming the U.S., attacking Israel, waving flags, pushing anti-West narratives. Well, go live somewhere else. If you don't like living in the West, please. They are recruiting soldiers in Russia right now. I bet you Ukraine would take some too. China would probably be happy to have you. Like, just go on in there. Why would, we don't want to subject you to pesky freedom and the big bad USA that has saved your butt so many times. In France, protests turned violent. In France? Jeez, that's interesting. Violent protests. Police had to deploy tear gas. Projectiles were thrown. I thought they were passive.
Not their protesters.
No, they're tolerant until you disagree. In Spain, signs blaming capitalism and war pointed directly at America. In the Philippines, even, protesters outside the U.S. Embassy, check this out, they clashed with police, they burned effigies of American leadership, hurt their feelings. Trump's probably crying because of it. Can't even move. J.D. Vance probably can't even move on with his life now because of that. In South Korea, union leaders calling for solidarity against what they call American aggression. What? South Korea? What? How many personnel have we had on the DMZ? Like, go take a hike. But that's what May Day looks like now. The heck with the little guy. That's what I'm saying. These guys don't care. The heck with fair wages and safe working environments, reasonable wages, all that stuff, opportunity. Not anymore. Not on labor. Not on ideology anymore. And it's aimed right at us, needlessly. Because we need to get I mean, I think we should let a few things, something straight here, okay? These countries yelling about America, oh, yeah, they exist in their current form because of America. Because of America. You see what I'm saying? Europe, let's start there. World War I. Did we remember that? America steps in, old Yankee Doodle, turning the tide of the war. That was in Europe. World War II, America liberates Europe from Nazi Germany. Remember that? You remember D-Day? How many American bodies are buried in Europe? I don't know of any buried here. I know there's a few probably. But D-Day, Normandy, American blood. American blood. Spilled on foreign soil so those countries could even exist the way they do today. In France, take a hike. You didn't even fight Nazi Germany. You just let them roll in there like a bunch of pansies. You didn't even put up a fight. So I don't care what you say. I mean, really, man. I mean, it's like every time back to Jacques Chirac back in the Gulf or Second Gulf War. You know, just total arrogance. I get if you disagree with us, fine. Total arrogance, not even close to a good ally. Then comes the Cold War. Remember that? Soviet Union breathing down Europe's neck. How many American armies did we have over there? How many American corps did we have? How many divisions did we have over there? And still do. Who stood between them and the communist takeover? Who? It wasn't your May Day protesters. They wouldn't even be in the army. They couldn't get accepted. It's us, old Yankee Doodle, coming to the rescue again. You want to move on to NATO? Shall we? Are you okay? American troops, American money, American deterrence. The enemy laughs at NATO without us. Decades of it, by the way. And it's still happening. Right now. Still. American taxpayers funding European defense while those same doggone countries run protests blaming America for their problems. Let's move to Asia. I'm just saying. Japan. We rebuilt it after World War II. We helped turn it into one of the strongest economies in the world. South Korea. Dude, without us, listen to me, without the United States, there is no South Korea.
That's for sure.
It becomes North Korea. It becomes just the Korean peninsula run by the North. That's it. American troops are still stationed there today. So instead of thank you, oh no, flipping the bird. We're still protecting it. Philippines, let's go. Let's keep going. We'll go around the world. These little May Day protests. Long-standing military alliance. Douglas MacArthur, I shall return. And he did. Strategic protection, economic support. Come on, Philippines, with your protest. The United States shows up. Every time, on time. Now, fast forward to today. Inflation rises globally. Energy markets tighten. Wars break out. And somehow, that gets turned into America's fault. These passive, ignorant folks have no clue about what the world is about. They would rather Iran's people, they want to talk about freedom and women's rights and all this liberty and all this. Dude, these people are totally cool with Iran's former leadership. Khomeini. All about it. Yeah. Khomeini 2, Khomeini 3. Jeez. They probably have posters of the Ayatollah in their little basements in their parents' house. They have basements in Europe, huh?
I believe so.
They got internet for sure. You can't be living down there without a keyboard. So, yeah. So they blame us. Oh, Yankee Doodles. And that's what you're seeing in these protests. A complete flip of reality. A complete flip of reality. The country that protects global trade routes, the country that stabilizes economies, the country that defends its allies and actually defends its allies. Yeah, we're the ones that get blamed for instability. Not the aggression of Russia, not Iran messing with the Strait of Hormuz. Oh no, it's got to be this. I hear the music cue. I wish we had so much time. Guys, man, we got a great segment right after this. I want you to check it out. Be careful out there. May God bless you and be kind.